FPL managers, guys, what is up today? We are looking at who is the best FPL Gameweek 21 captain. Now, all the underlying data we're getting for this video is taken from the last 5 game weeks, and if any abbreviations like XG confuse you, check the description. Our 3 candidates are obviously Salah, Palmer and Isak. Now, looking at the data first of all, guys, we can see straight away there is one player here that is just like completely out of the race already. Looking at Cole Palmer compared to these two, there is no comparison. He is lagging way behind based on his recent form. This shows me straight away Cole Palmer is not captain material this game week. Even when we dive into the fixtures, if Cole Palmer has the easiest fixture by a country mile, he is still not getting the armband. We've got to be real with ourselves, guys. It is too risky and a big mistake to consider captaining Cole Palmer. I don't care if you're a Chelsea fan, I don't care if you hate Salah or hate Isak. Those are the only 2 options we are considering for this game week, guys. It is already a 2-horse race. So guys, let's dive in deeper to the stats of Isak and Salah. Whose is actually better? I mean, on the surface level here, you see Salah's expected goal involvements are higher than Isak's over the last 5 game weeks. Combined, he's got more big chances and big chances created and more expected points. So on the surface, Salah looks like the better option. Of course, he's also been better across the entire season as well. I mean, if you look across game week 1 to game week 20, Salah is also going to be much higher than Isak. So, is there really much else to it, or is it just definitely Salah captain once again? Because I personally would beg to differ. Because Salah, in the last game against Man United, the only reason he got a goal at all was because of a penalty. And if you look at his expected goals without penalties, it goes down to 4.6, which is a lot lower than Isak, who's got 6.2 without any penalties. And I know penalties is still a goal, it's still a thing to consider when picking your FPL players, but considering both Salah and Isak are both penalty takers, there's not really much else to consider. I mean, if like Anthony Gordon was on penalties instead of Isak for Newcastle, it would be much more in favour of Salah, but because they're both penalty takers, you know, you can't just assume penalty goals are going to happen every game. I mean, if it does, it's a bit of luck, but it's not guaranteed. So I kind of look at the non-penalty expected goals, and it does make Salah a little less appealing, you know. I'm still very torn on who to choose. I mean, you also have to factor in the risk of it all as well. I mean, picking Isak, even though he could be the better option, is still a lot of risk involved because everybody is going to go with Salah, meaning if Isak decides to have a bad game and Salah has his usual good game, well, it's going to be bad news for you because you're going to go plummeting in rank even if the rest of your team does well because Salah's effective ownership is going to be so high. But now let's dive into the fixture, looking at the defences of Nottingham Forest and Wolves. Now, how we're doing this is simple, guys. We're looking at Forest home defence across the last 9 game weeks because they've played 9 home games this season. We're going to be looking at Wolves away defence over the past 10 games because they've played 10 away games. There's no point looking at home and away stats when Wolves are specifically playing away this game week and Forest are specifically playing at home. So if you see in the bottom left as well, you'll see how many games each team has played at home or away and how I rate the fixture difficulty out of 10. I hope that all makes sense. An example is basically, you know, Aston Villa, their home defence is one of the best in the league, but their away defence is one of the worst in the league. So it'd be wrong to look at Aston Villa, home and away defensively, when there is a huge difference. And it goes for some of these other teams as well, like Nottingham Forest and like Wolves. We could look at the Bournemouth fixture as well, but it is like the exact same difficulty as the Wolves fixture, and we already know Isak has much better data than Palmer, so straight away it's a no-brainer leaning towards Isak on that one. So Palmer is now 100% out of the race as if he wasn't already. Now, one thing that did surprise me is that the Wolves away defence is actually better than I thought it would be, to be honest. I didn't think it would be on par with Bournemouth's away defence, so straight away I was kind of shocked. So I ranked them both equally a 5 out of 10. Not too difficult, but it's also not super easy as well. The reason I give Wolves a green fixture and Bournemouth a grey fixture is because Wolves are just a much worse team in general than Bournemouth. So, you know, in case there's any confusion there, that's why. So let's do another 1v1. Let's go fixture versus fixture on Isak versus Salah. First off, looking at the expected clean sheets and the expected goals conceded, you can see there really is no comparison between Forest and Wolves. It's, you know, a clear win. There's a clear victor for Isak, but we already knew that. It's just, is Isak's fixture that much better, so much better than the Salah fixture that we can justify him being our captain? I mean, Nottingham Forest, guys, their defence is really good. There's only been 3 occasions in 20 game weeks where they've conceded more than 2 goals in a game, and 2 of those came away to Man City and away to Arsenal. And when they played away to Liverpool, they won 1-0. They kept a clean sheet. So clearly they know what they're doing in, you know, how they handle Liverpool. And looking at Liverpool in their last game against Man United, their dressing room looked kind of broken. They looked very mad at each other. So they're not going to have a lot of momentum going for them right now, which means Liverpool are not in a good place to take on one of the hardest fixtures in the league. And when I say Forest away is one of the hardest fixtures in the league, I mean it. You could argue away to Arsenal is harder, you know, especially for the attackers. But even something like away to Chelsea, that's an easier fixture than playing away to Forest. Away to City, I mean, City are on bad form, but it's still pretty hard to go away to Man City. And maybe you could argue away to Aston Villa is tougher, but overall, playing away to Forest is one of the toughest fixtures in the league. You have to treat it like that. You can't see Forest and think, oh, last season they're a relegation team. This season they're one of the best teams in the league, and they're mainly the best through their solid defence. The way I see this game going realistically is probably a 0-0 in the first half between Liverpool and Forest. That's my prediction. And I think maybe Liverpool could go on to score 2 goals in the second half. I won't deny it. They probably could. I'm not saying they would, but it's definitely possible. And Salah, or he could be involved in both of them and get a double-digit haul. But realistically, I don't see Salah getting more than 10 points. I see him staying in the single digits, and that's just my opinion. I don't believe he's going to get any more than 10 points. I mean, in Liverpool in 1-0, Salah gets the clean sheet, the goal, and the bonus points. That's actually an 11-pointer. But that's as high as I see it going. And even then, you know, you're looking at Trent bonus points if Liverpool keep a clean sheet, because Trent is a bonus point magnet. And then we're going to take a look at Isak's fixture now. The Wolves fixture, I'm not going to lie, like I said, it's not as easy as I thought it was. But it is still very easy. Like, that Wolves away defence is not really that good either way. But, you know, like I said, better than I thought it was. The thing is with this Isak fixture, it's like one of those rare game weeks in FPL, which you never really have, where the differential captain is actually maybe better than the template captain. For example, normally when you go for a low ownership captain to get some upside, you know, get a differential captaincy pick, you're normally picking the worst option and hoping it does better than the solid, reliable option. But this time round, even though picking Isak is risky, I do think it's the better choice, I'm not going to lie. Isak's ceiling, there isn't really a ceiling for Isak. His goal scoring form is insane, he gets the assists. I mean, he's got 6.2 expected goals in the last 5 game weeks without penalties. Imagine if he gets a penalty. I mean, it's ridiculous. I've never seen stats this good in a long while, especially from a player less than 10 million. Because Wolves, looking here, right, was it 14 expected goals conceded and they've conceded 22? Isak, a great finisher against clearly a bad goalkeeper or some bad defenders. I mean, you guys can work out the math for yourselves. It's a really good matchup. And I know what you're thinking, like, we're still debating, is it really worth the risk? Is Isak that much better of an option to justify picking him over Salah as my captain when Salah's effective ownership is probably going to be 200%, and if he does well, does better than Isak, it's going to kill my rank? That is a possibility. But in a game like this, like I say, it comes around like once or twice in a season where the differential captain is a better option than the template captain. So I wouldn't waste this opportunity. Like, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong, okay? I lost points. I lost points by playing my way, by doing what I thought was right, and it turned out to be wrong. I'm fine with that. But if I back out, I play it safe and go with Salah. Salah gets 3 points and Isak gets 13. I'm going to be so mad at myself that I never took the risk, because the upside is huge. So for me, guys, and my recommendation to all of you is, if you want to gain rank, you want to have fun, and you want to go with what's right, pick Isak. If you're like looking at already like you're in the top 10k, you're in the top 50k, you want to hold your rank, you want to play it safe, you've got a good enough team around you to hold it down even if Salah fails, then go with that as well. But for me personally, I can't sit here and make the wrong decision just because it's, you know, the safe option. I like to have a little bit of fun, and recently with Salah, Isak and Palmer and their ownerships being all like maxed out, it's been a bit boring, because even when they get points it doesn't really matter. And this game week, well, it adds something. Like when Salah gets a point, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be upset, when normally I'd just be like, eh. And instead of Isak getting points and me just not caring, I'm going to be gassed because he's going to be a differential captain. You guys get what I'm saying? Another way you can look at the captaincy choices is by looking at zonal defending. Looking at which teams have a weakness. For example, maybe their left flank gets exploited the most and they concede their most chances down the left. Maybe it's the right, maybe it's the centre. And I'll tell you guys right now, an average zonal defence looks like this. 50% down the middle, 25% down the left, 25% down the right. I know that's a lot more down the centre than the left and the right, but that's the average. You don't really see it fluctuate too much higher or too much lower than that. But all 3 teams we're looking at, in Wolves and Bournemouth kind of, and Forest, mainly Wolves and Forest, they don't really have a huge weakness either side, and it's looking quite average. So I've not really factored that into this captaincy decision. Normally I would, because with captaincy, every little thing matters. But Wolves and Forest is evenly spread. Like I showed you right now, the basic template, 50, 25, 25. It looks fairly similar to that. I'm not going to lie, guys. There's no real weakness in either team. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of the captaincy choice for this game week. I don't think Isak is someone to sleep on. I think this is an advantage you got to take while you can, because like I said, it's a rare game week where the differential captain is the better option. So guys, stick by me, pick Isak captain, and if it goes wrong and your rank is dead, all because of me, what can I say? I'm sorry. Anyway, if you did make it this far, guys, thank you very much for watching. You are greatly appreciated, and I will see you all in the next video.